By the way, President Biden will be speaking with Chinese President Xi Jinping today for a conversation that could potentially shift the balance of the war in Ukraine. The two leaders are expected to talk at 9 a.m. Eastern as concern grows over China's neutral position toward Russia's acts of violence. Speaking yesterday, Secretary Blinken also expressed concern that Xi may be considering sending military aid to assist Russia and vowed China will face consequences if that happens. Here's what President Biden said yesterday about today's conversation.
We're at an inflection point in history. I think, and I mean that sincerely, it occurs every several generations. I think we're in a genuine struggle between autocracies and democracies, and whether or not democracies can be sustained. And I'm going to be speaking to President Xi tomorrow, and he'll remind me that I told him, he remembers every damn thing I've said, unfortunately. But all kidding aside, we talked about the idea. He does not believe democracies can be sustained in the 21st century because things move so rapidly, technology is changing so much, democracies don't have time to arrive at consensus. That's why autocracies will succeed.
Jonathan Lemire, what does the White House hope to accomplish in this meeting today with the leader of China?
Yeah, this call today is going to have an outsized impact on the trajectory of this war, U.S. officials believe. Certainly, President Biden will be pressuring Xi Jinping to join the rest of the world in isolating Russia and Vladimir Putin. To this point, China has stayed neutral, even offering some rhetorical support for Russia. The tenor of the tone there has changed a little bit in recent days. The Chinese media showing being a little more sympathetic to the plights of the Ukrainians, but that's not been echoed by top Beijing officials. We expect Biden to take both a carrots and stick approach today, officials tell me. On one hand, suggesting there could be sanctions for China if China remains neutral or, in fact, goes to assist Moscow further. The carrots, though, some incentives, perhaps offering to lift some of the Trump-era tariffs on Chinese goods that Biden has still left in place, but that will be a point as well. There is a belief, certainly administration officials tell me, that if Xi Jinping were to side with Biden here, that the isolation of Putin would be extreme and his economy would collapse that much further. But they're not certain he's going to do that, despite all that would be at risk here for China, despite the seemingly economic blunder it would be to pick Moscow over the markets of Europe and the West. Some officials believe that right now they're concerned that the hawks are winning within Beijing, that they, in fact, may be leaning towards signing with Moscow. Even keeping them neutral would certainly be a better alternative than that. But this is the president's, Xi and Biden's, first call since last November. Obviously, tensions very high between the two nations on their own. And this phone call here really will play a significant role as to how this war progresses in the next weeks and months and go a long way to determining U.S.-China relations going forward.
You know, Andrea, it's so fascinating. What's old is new. 50 years ago, it was Nixon going to meet Mao, 1972, to triangulate the United States and China against the old Soviet Union. And here we are 50 years later. And it is China, once again, in a position where they could have an outsized impact, of course. What are you hearing?
Well, the one concern is, what do we do to pressure them? Obviously, we could lift those sanctions, the Trump-era sanctions. But on this, the administration does know that Europe may not be on the same page as we are because Europe has such an important relationship, growing relationship, trade relationship with China. So they have to figure this out very carefully. They're saying there will be severe consequences, but what really will be the severe consequences for China? China really has the most leverage here because U.S. officials believe that China is the only country that really has leverage with Vladimir Putin, if anyone does. Turkey's been trying to negotiate. Israel has been trying to negotiate because they have a relationship with Russia, a security relationship over Syria. They deconflict over Syria. That said, really, Beijing has the clout. And it's not just military clout, by the way. It's also economic clout because Beijing could help bail Putin out of a crunch that he is about to face within the next month with those reserves that were frozen at the central bank, because a lot of that was parked in China, a lot is in Swiss banks, but the basic fact is that he can't convert rubles into any kind of usable currency. The ruble is worthless at this point. And if China not only provides weapons but bails him out in currency, that would be a huge deal. So there's two edges to this. They really need China. Frankly, more than China needs the U.S. right now, although the Chinese Foreign Ministry and Jackie Mackey-Freyer and others covering the foreign ministry there would be a better expert than if it's some of the U.S. so-called experts. But the China Foreign Ministry is speaking today about the civilian casualties, something that they say that they criticize the U.S. and its in our history for in Iraq, Afghanistan, even Yugoslavia.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.